regarding the Hulu theater, that is. All women's card. Amanda, Cruz will be headlining that card. 2 undisputed women's fights. Mainly a women's card, but there's some men cards there. That's going to be early February. Matchroom doing their thing. What do you think of that card?
I think it shows where women's boxing has come, where you're actually having 2 really showcase fights for 2 fighters, because they're not really. I don't really think there's going to be the most competitive fights. I think that Amanda Serrano should beat Cruz fairly easily, in my opinion, and then Bumgarner is actually facing, I believe, the number 3 ranked in the thing, because of number 1 and number 2 weren't available, and of course the champ doesn't want to fight. So I think that these are 2 fights where they should win. They should be big favorites in, but it just shows what women's boxing is, that you have actually kind of star power with some name value there. And I remember 2 years ago, I thought, where could be the growth in boxing? I thought the biggest growth could be women's boxing, but no one really ever took it as serious as we have now. And we now have the star power, I think, to really take it to the next level.
Women headline: Serrano against Cruz. It is Puerto Rico versus Mexico, by the way, but for what it's worth. But what do you make of that fight card? And Bumgarner will only be on the undercard, but she will be an undisputed fight. What do you make of it?
I think Alicia will become undisputed that night. No doubt. The opponent that she's facing has already been in there with other high-level opponents, and she was not able to execute or perform at the level that Alicia Baumgart just performed. I don't think it's necessarily going to be an easy fight, but 100%, I would bet the house on it. She's going to win. They also have Sky Nicholson on the undercard. That's another up-and-coming fighter who I think is also going to be able to have a great performance. I think it's already almost close to be like Sela. Of course, Amanda Serrano being from Puerto Rico, she's going to bring in the crowd. They have a few other Puerto Rican fighters. I believe that one of the male fighters is Puerto Rican. So, and it's kind of a smaller venue. So they will be able to sell that out. I think I'm more excited to see what's going to come next. I hope that we get that Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano rematch that we've been wanting. That's possibly one of the most anticipated rematches for 2023.
No, and I saw some of that controversy you were talking about from some of the American female fighters, and I think it's much to do about nothing. But this is the long-term goal from Eddie when it started, right? Trust Fund Eddie, Matchroom, you got to give him credit, even for the people who don't like Trust Fund Eddie. Matchroom is he subsidized women's boxing for a while, and that's the right thing to do, is to subsidize women's sports. And as you subsidize over time, that organic growth starts to happen. They start to climb the cards. And then they start to develop rivalries. You need rivalries to have success in sports. And as they had rivalries, they climbed to the main event. And as these rivalries and main events were successful, you're going to get more rivalries, more main events on women's cards. So this plan has worked and it's developed, it worked. And we're going to get more of this 2023 following the success, the breakout success in 2022. So it's good. It's always great to see if you have daughters, you want to have them to have success, especially being in America. You don't want to, I've talked about this ad nauseum, D-Star. I don't want to send my daughters to Croatia or Russia or China to go play basketball.
What do you have against Croatia?
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know anything about Croatia. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to send them.
Beautiful women, they live there.
Yeah, I don't want to send them. I don't want to send them 20 hours away flight to go play professional basketball. I'd rather see them do it here.
You could have said Poland. You could have said Norway.
Yeah. I don't want to see them play ball in Poland or wherever or Australia. Screw them, right? But no,
Team USA, baby.
This is all good. It's all good.
But 408, what you make of this all women's card? Amanda Serrano will be headlining.
Kudos to the women, man. They're well deserved, but both of them have been in tremendous fights in 2022. The Women's Fight of the Year, Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. And I honestly think that the Alicia Baumgartner win was a huge win. I did not have her winning, expected her to win that fight, and she did. And she's acting like a champion. And I would love to see her actually be undisputed in her weight division.
Mm-hmm. All right. Danny and Vivo Marrero, talk to us, brother.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're excited about Amanda Serrano. Talk to us.
Ah, man, this is pretty exciting for 3 reasons. Number one, Amanda Serrano is decorated as she's been. She has never been undisputed. This is going to be her first undisputed match. And on top of that, the very first Puerto Rican women to make this happen. And, one thing after the, Katie Taylor fight, man, that was one of the most exciting, entertaining fights I've ever witnessed in my life, to the point that I am going to Ireland to watch that second fight. I have to. I just have to go. But right after the fight, interesting enough, she had said, I'm going back. I'm going to start grinding back again. And she did that on Monday and never stopped. She had another great fight. I hate to say that she's getting a little bit burned out. She didn't look the way she looked against Katie, but sometimes the opponents made things a little bit difficult, that she didn't perform the way she did perform against Katie Taylor in that previous fight. But, this is the path of certain things that she wants to accomplish in life. And right now she's got 2 things left on her to-do list: become undisputed in that rematch against Katie Taylor. And it's going to happen. And this is the step to that. I do believe that she'll definitely, become undisputed this coming time. Now, nothing away from Erica Cruz. I think I've seen her fight a couple of times. Don't recall a lot in how dangerous can she be against Amanda Serrano. But knowing her, knowing the commitment that she's got to the sport, for her fans, for her people, for her family, doesn't even freaking own a phone. Not in social medias or anything like that. She is so committed to the sport that I think we're going to see a lot more from her. Alicia, wow, the surprise of the, that last fight. She won it all. It surprised me, of course. And she's up for bigger and better things, man. I'm excited for her. I saw her, hanging out at the WBO conference in Puerto Rico, and she was having a blast. This was just right after she had won the titles. But man, bigger and better things for her. And I do believe also as well she will become an undisputed champion.
Pass it over to you, brother. What do you think of the Zulu card?
It's interesting that Cruz is a plus 200, so the odds are Amanda is a minus 270, but Cruz is not really a big puncher at all, and I think she'll be outgunned in this fight. The Alicia Baumgardner fight, there's not even odds for that one, so I'm really not excited about this card, to be honest with you. I think there's nothing left to the imagination here. I think we know who's going to win. I think these are pretty much showcase fights for both Serrano and Baumgardner until they go on to the next big step in their careers, to be fair. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully these fights are more competitive than I think they're going to be. But it's hard to get excited for fights like this where, these two opponents are going to be severely outgunned. They're going to be severely overmatched. And it's not Baumgardner's fault. I mean, she wanted Choi. Choi got hurt, or Choi didn't want the fight, however you want to sum that up. So Baumgardner does have to stay busy. But, I'm a little bit frustrated with Amanda Serrano. I understand she wants to get the undisputed. But again, this is just my opinion, and definitely this can be, this could be questioned. This can be argued. This can be questioned. But it's not how many belts you have always. It's who you beat to get those belts. So it's, she's fighting these women, and I just think there's better challenges for Serrano.
But the problem is being that she's been the only one that has to move up from 126 to 135 and move up and go down, trying to search for opponents, because women boxing wasn't
but that's
the same
what
as
the
it
greats
is
do,
going
Manny.
right now.
That's what the greats do.
I mean, you can say the same thing for the ways that Canelo became undisputed. Who did he get his belts from?
I would have to argue, MC, that Caleb Plant
Okay, Caleb, besides Caleb Plant.
is better than Cruz.
Okay,
I'd have to say that.
maybe there, but the opposition was.
I'd have to say Caleb Smith was the best super middleweight in the world before Canelo fought him.
And he also said Billy Joe
I'd have
Saunders.
to respectfully disagree with that.
And I remember when Canelo was at middleweight, and everybody was saying Billy Joe Saunders would be the guy to beat him because he has that style to beat.
Well,
he's bigger, naturally bigger. Than
Yeah,
Manny,
but he bought him by a bigger weight class.
I respect what you're saying, Manny, and I'm not dismissing your opinion whatsoever. But the problem is Amanda Serrano's too good for her own good. She got to check. So we're gonna have expectations for her, just like we have expectations for Canelo. Canelo could sign to fight Godzilla, and guess what? They'll say Godzilla had a splinter in his foot. You know what I mean? They'll make something up.
That's the price, unfortunately, they have to pay, because they're never going to satisfy.
So what Beeb was saying, they're getting a pass because they're women.
No, what I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying.
I'm just like,
this is what I'm saying.
Whoa.
You're saying so kind of she should have not cared about becoming undisputed and maybe is going to get the rematch.
This is what I'm saying, MC. We came from such a high with that Katie Taylor fight. And there should have been an immediate rematch, in my opinion.
But it wasn't Amanda.
Why wasn't that?
So why would we target Amanda? It wasn't Amanda. It wasn't his promotions. Why do you think Amanda went another direction and started fighting again? Because she wanted to stay active. It's going to happen. The problem is that now
Katie Taylor would have fought her again. I don't think that would have been a problem making that rematch. They supposedly they made her an offer, and they asked her, what would it take to get you to fight again? And they made it from what they're saying, it was a substantial offer, and she turned it down. She didn't want it.
Gotcha.
That's what they're saying. I don't know if it's true or not. For me, you don't go from such a high and then go all the way.
So you say
off that performance.
You're staying active, like Crawford does, staying active to fight someone. I'm going to fight someone now. Let me just fight.
You can fight whoever you want. Manny. The question is,
one at a time.
Manny, the question is, how do I feel about it? I can't manufacture feelings that I don't have. I'm not excited for the fight.
Let's let Manny have the last word, and then we're gonna move on. But go ahead, Manny.
No, I respect you on that, and it's fine. It's good. I think it's nothing about when you said about the fight, because I can understand that. I see that these are two fighters that are most likely going to be undisputed Saturday, and I understand where you're coming from. But when you come out and say that Amanda is on her own little, however you said it, I don't remember. I don't want to paraphrase it, but
I don't understand why she didn't
be able to have any
fight
opposition and anyone to fight against with. She's never had anyone. She has to go 3-4 divisions up and down to try to get some fights going. There were no money, no pay. She barely had to pretty much beg for getting a pay until finally Jake Paul came in and, let's pay this girls what they deserve. They're bringing the sport the way they are, and I think they're going to. It's going to happen. But
hold on, let him finish. I'll let you go.
That's the question. What do you want me to do? Stay inactive?
Go ahead.
Unfortunately for her, she had Lou DiBella as a promoter who didn't have a television deal.
Damn.
So she couldn't get put on like some of the other fighters like Michaela Mayer, like Baumgartner, like Katie Taylor. And I'm gonna have to challenge you on one of your points, Manny. She looked fine at 135. She didn't look like she was out of place fighting at 135. And I don't think she's won titles. She went up to 140, Manny. So she proved, but she can do it, Manny. It's not like she can't do it. If she wasn't good enough to do it, then no, it wouldn't even be a question. So I'm saying,
so you think that she's not entitled to say, I've accomplished a lot of
things. She can do whatever she wants.
I moved up. I'm entitled now to go for the undisputed, whether whoever's got that additional title that I need. I'm going out there, whether there's a cherry picking or not. That's something that I believe she deserves. And now she can go back up to 135 and fight the rematch.
Manny, what I'm saying
all right. We're going to do this. Beep. Give one more take. We'll let Manny go, and then we got to move on. But go ahead.
For her ability, right, she should be with Katie Taylor, Alicia Baumgartner, Michaela Mayer in terms of exposure. And in order to do that, you're gonna have to go a little bit. You're gonna have to go above and beyond to do that because you don't have that push like they have. If you're not being pushed by a top rank, you're not being pushed by a DAZN. Say, I'm gonna give you an example. Demetrius Andrade, right? They ask him, why aren't you getting the big fights, right? And they say, what are you gonna do to get the big fights? You know what his response is? Well, what do I have to do? Well, obviously the plan that you're following right now is not working. So guess what? You're gonna have to do something else. You're gonna have to do more. Unfortunately, life's not fair. So if you're not getting that, her talent level is up here, and her exposure does not meet her talent level. She's an exciting fighter. She's a talented fighter, right? She shouldn't be fighting in fights that nobody knows and nobody cares about. That's what I'm saying. She deserves more, Manny. She deserves more.
All right, let's let Manny. Go ahead, Manny. And we're gonna move on.
And I totally agree. I think right now you're absolutely right. It's just unfortunately when her career and who promoted her. I think right now she's a different state of mind right now, and she's making the money she deserves. And right now she's up to saying, listen, the fight didn't happen. The rematch. Guess what? I'm gonna stay active. I'm gonna conquer undisputed status. Check that out of my list, and I'll be back. And I think that's what's going to happen most likely. And she's okay with it. She's entitled to at least go out there and say, let me become undisputed to whomever is out there, and then I'll come back 135, which I agree with you. She looks a lot better 135 than 126.